We've reached capacity on the first Swim 16. Let's look at how to install a second Swim 16 in the D2 Lite enclosure. For this, you'll need a special security driver bit. One is included inside each enclosure's packaging. So be sure to hang on to the bit from the next enclosure you install. That way you will have one for upgrades and service calls with the existing enclosures. Now, let's get started. Remove the outer casing from the D2 Lite enclosure. Loosen all 4 screws, but don't remove them. Allow just enough room for you to lift the enclosure casing up and pull it gently toward you. Then, remount the casing on the wall mount with the inside facing you. Once the casing is remounted, it will be sturdy enough that you can work directly within it. There should be enough slack in the cables attached to the outside of the enclosure to let you work. Now remove the swim mounting screws from inside the enclosure. These screws need to be fully removed. They're very small, so be careful not to lose them. And it's okay to place your tools on the top of the enclosure. You don't want to weigh it down too much, but it can handle the Swim 16 security bit and screws just fine. There are 2 sets of cables for the second Swim 16. Pre-installed, labeled, and capped. 1 set for the Swim DC power outputs, and 1 for the ODU inputs. All you will need to do is remove the caps and weather seals and make the connections. Notice these cables are also bundled with zip ties. Clip off these zip ties for installation so that you don't kink any of the cables while working with them. All leftover weather seals and caps can be saved for future jobs. They always come in handy. Connect each cable to the port of the Swim 16 that has a corresponding label. To be efficient, I recommend you start with the Swim 1 power port and move clockwise to the next port until all connections are made. Now, mount the second Swim 16 in the enclosure, lining up the mounting holes with the mounting post. Attach it to the post with the screws you removed earlier. Be sure to torque all of the connections to 30 inch-pounds. Now flip the casing back over and remount it to the wall plate. Once that's done, tighten up the security screws. Not so tough, right? You now know how to add a second Swim 16 to a D2 Lite.